Okay, so this is my multiple input system and camera feed project. I'll start it up here. I'm going to do it in Unity first, then I'll do a screencast from my tablet to show the camera input and the UI at a different size. So I have two input methods for the player. I either have arcade buttons or drag to move, and I'll show how both of them work. So as you can see, it's waiting to capture an image, but because I don't have a webcam, I can't capture a background image. Here what I have is a drag to move, which basically responds to the player's touch. I can drag and aim and shoot at the enemies as they come in. And then with the arcade style buttons, down here at the bottom, you can tap to move or hold down to move quicker. Works pretty seamlessly. There's some checking on the player's position to make sure that you don't go out of the screen. And I'll show you the code I used for those as well as the code for the camera, and then I'll do a screen recording for the camera too on my tablet. So the player controller was pretty easy. I have the two options, whether they're using the arcade button or not. If they're not using the arcade button, then the game listens for the player movement button to be pressed, and then it moves the player transform to the mouse position and zeroes out the rigid body, so that way there's no rigid body values or speed added to it. And then this is the section that actually handles the rigid body speed application if you're using the two directional buttons. And down here they have the movement pressed. Where are those at? Here they are, sorry. Movement pressed, so when the button's down it adds a direction based off of whether it's right or left button, and then when you let up it turns the direction back to zero to zero out the physics that's been applied to the rigid body. Messing around with these two styles, drag and move is pretty cool for a shoot 'em up airplane type game like I've made here. I don't think it would work as well for mine because of the precision that the player needs. Tap to move could be kind of cool if my game was more simplistic, but because I want a high level of difficulty and a high level of precision jumping and movement, I feel like players will respond better to having an arcade input system, so that way they're not blaming basically the touch for why they're not landing where they need to. Players feel more comfortable with buttons. Button does what they expect it to do, and they can't really blame anybody else for their failures or having difficulty with the game other than the buttons. So like I said, I'll do a screencast of the game playing on my tablet, and then I'll put them together and